3 months since my divorce was final, doing better than I would have thought. Backgrade, without going into detail, here's a summary. I'm a recent 40-year-old. For 7 of my 8 years with my ex, we were married. She had been divorced once before, and it was my first marriage. Enough said, not really on purpose. I have a decent work, earn more money than she does, and have been objectively confirmed to have better balanced personality and emotions by tests we both performed with a therapist a few years ago. Since she isn't trustworthy, there can be no emotional connection. So it's no wonder that I emotionally withdrew. Of course, emotional neglect breaks a woman's heart, so she thinks I abandoned her long ago, which I think is accurate. She became tired of feeling this way and confronted me about it, leading to her asking a separation and announcing her wish for a divorce. In the 2 months before the event, I waited for her to tell me what was wrong. So I just got on with it. A month after our divorce, I found out she had an emotional affair with a married guy. I caught her off surprise when I pointed it out in early January 2021. Since nothing physical happened, it wasn't actually cheating, she argued when I showed her my evidence. A jerk. So my skepticism was well based, as she showed once and for all. Minor annoyances used to upset me, but as every married person knows, minor annoyance, for example, I'd tell her something private or secret between us, and she'd divulge it to someone else. This wasn't a one-time mistake, it was a pattern. And I smoked pot and drank too much. No impact on my job, I worked throughout our marriage and earned a good livelihood. Because I'm successful in my career, money was never a problem, and we never fought about it. But my drinking made me obnoxious. I stopped drinking and smoking marijuana in December, and am still sober. I can see things now that I couldn't see during the storm. Around 2 to 3 years ago, the ex-sister wife had an affair with her husband. This poor guy was, and is, a doormat. I always thought her family was trying to make me a house pet like that poor guy, but I digress. Sister casually mentioned the affair to ex-wife. Ex-wife was furious and emotional. She confided in me the night she found out about the affair on what she should do. We discussed adultery in general and the many forms of infidelity over that 2-hour conversation. I remember us discussing emotional affairs, and we both agreed that they constituted adultery. My point of view was that any infidelity, physical or otherwise, was grounds for divorce. Trust has been lost and will never be recovered. I remember thinking myself I would never trust a woman who had done it again. And I meant it. If she didn't know my position before, she knew after that. Let's jump to fall 2020. She feels abandoned emotionally. The rest is history. This gives a woman the validation she seeks/needs. But here's what I discovered. Not good at maintaining secrets, and even worse at lying. But now I wonder whether her aversion to lying was due to her inability to do it properly rather than a real moral conviction. Regardless. Throughout our marriage, I could sense when she was angry. Always. What's wrong, honey? I've asked her so many times. Nothing. I know. Is this going to be painful, or will you just tell me now? You know I'll get to the bottom of it, so let's cut to the chase. Nothing went wrong when I felt it. Never. So she crosses the emotional or physical affair boundary. This can't be hidden from me forever. I will eventually smell it out because I always do. Always. So even if she wanted to repent and recognize it, she recalls our conversation a few years ago. She clearly knows my view on this nonsense. So she has 2 choices: come straight with me before I find out on my own, or let me divorce her. She's thinking false opportunity after hearing my position again. Her fake reputation will be ruined for life. Come on, be honest before I divorce you. So she loses her flawless reputation. Hide it and either stay married or terminate the affair. And I will finally sniff out anything off since she can't keep secrets and lies. In this instance, she will end up in either scenario number 1 or number 2. Her only choice, knowing I'll eventually find it out and divorce her, is to beat me to it. She wasn't going to be charged with adultery, mental or physical. Remember, she is a pure, decent, honest, Christian person. So throw something against the wall, gaslight me, and hope some of it sticks. Permit me to live with the guilt of the failed marriage. Make me the villain, let her be the victim, and keep her secret safe. As a result, she chose number 4. But she didn't count on the fact that I am and always have been smarter than she is. I was late because I was in denial. A few weeks later, in early December, I asked whether she'd cheated on me. I only started looking into it in January. I was busy trying to shift everything and arranging my next move. To be honest, her attempt to carry out that plan is as bad as the adultery itself. The cover-up is frequently worse than the crime, they add. Adjustment and healing. I stayed with my parents from December to February. My birthday is in December, and Christmas follows. This was my worst birthday and Christmas ever. My 40th birthday is a big event. The conditions made it difficult for me to mentally accept my 40th birthday. I couldn't eat much in December. I started to feel better at the end of December, but discovering the affair set me back. Regardless, I drank high-protein smoothies and worked out every morning before work. I overcame difficulties. It wasn't easy. I didn't have to commute since I work from home. Also, December is a quiet month at work, which was good since I couldn't concentrate anyhow. Focus was also tough when classes returned in January. But I was steadily improving. What a cerebral workout. Easily the worst thing that has ever happened to me or been done to me. Remember, I'd been going to therapy since early December and would keep going. By May, I'd visited 3 therapists. I can't stress this enough, seek help. Seriously. It will help. If you go to someone and it doesn't help, try another. Make an attempt to communicate with someone. You must do so to maintain even a minimal degree of mental health. My first counselor was good until he wasn't. I left after realizing I couldn't get any more from him. They each had something special to offer. But they all helped me process and recover. Despite the infidelity, I decided to save the marriage. I guess I'm just a loyal person who appreciates loyalty. It didn't work out, but I can say I tried everything. After the divorce, I started dating. I was not going to be her equal. My response to adultery would not be infidelity. No matter how much it hurt, I wore my ring to the end. Atheists or agnostics don't interest me in philosophy or religion. As for skipping this portion, remember that you have the same rights as I have. Okay? Okay. God was my greatest assistance. I didn't have the mental strength to weather this storm alone, but He did. I bought 3 easy steps to emotional healing a few years ago. Unsure why I bought it, but I'd never read it. I realized one night in late January or early February that I had filled it with the few stuff I hadn't put in storage. I took a break and read it all at once. Without getting into too much detail, I asked my parents to help me follow the book's directions. It was a pain going through them. Extremely. But I can't convey how much healing I got from finishing it. It was amazing. It ached like having a bullet removed from your body, and there were several. But we excavated them one by one. And the Lord took them one by one into His arms. I received more healing in an hour and a half than most people get in a year. It was perhaps the best thing I ever did for myself and one of the best things God ever did for me. In late February, I decided to return home. I had previously pondered leaving. Again, since I work remotely, I can live anywhere I choose as long as there is internet, worked remotely even before COVID. But I dreaded being alone and losing the emotional support I had gotten for the preceding 2 or 3 months. I dreaded living in the place where I had spent my married life. Would I cry every time I went by a place that brought back memories, and there were many? This was a big one. I decided not to let her or the circumstances rob me of a place I loved. It's only haunted if I let it be. And I understood that tackling it head-on was the best way to deal with it. It would always be a haunting place if I didn't face it. That was my last remark. I am not a victim in this circumstance. So I moved closer to the lake where I like to fish. I'm just a few miles from my former home, where my ex still lives. What say you? IDGAF. That's it. I'm a true stoic. Divorce aid. If you haven't heard of it, you have now. Google it if you want to know more, but suffice it to say it's a statewide faith-based divorce support organization. So, on others' advice, I joined up. The boss was kind, although she chatted a lot. A woman with children going through a divorce and a guy with children going through a divorce were all present the first and only night I went. Oh, and I nearly forgot, I am childless, thank God, as this would have made my situation much more difficult. I won't criticize the show. I won't deny it helped many people, and I'm glad it did. But I didn't believe it was for me. I felt worse when I left. The next 6 months to a year of your life would be terrible torture, we were told from the outset. That was the gist of it. In my opinion, I do not like having bad things predicted for my life. That's according to the Bible. I wasn't going to allow strangers who were supposed to be helping me erase all the hard work I'd put into my mental health up to this point. Yes, things were tough, and I was not in denial. But I have options. I can either wallow in my misery for 6 to 12 months or more, or I can fight and move forward. This is not a message about avoiding sadness and bad emotions. You can't. You will notice. You can, however, choose to let it completely rule your life. You may either wallow in the mud or pass through it to the other side. I made the choice not to dwell in that filth and not to let anybody assist me. Please realize that I did not disregard or suppress my feelings. No way. I let myself feel, grieve, and act as I pleased. I still do. But I'm improving. To the current. Move on and dating again. I'm not here to tell you when to start dating again, that's not my job. I believe correct timing is individual. As previously said, I would not date until the divorce was finalized. That said, even without my moral code, I wasn't ready, knew I wasn't ready, and refused to date until it was definite. My self-esteem was crushed. Being cheated on evicts the soul. The one person you're meant to trust the most *CKs you over. It's as though we all agree on one thing when we marry: loyalty. She did the unthinkable. And I had my opportunities too. Perhaps I rationalized it to myself. But I would never have done it, and I didn't. So I can say I am a better person than she. Finally, she spared me from a marriage to someone I couldn't trust. Why would I want another 8 years snatched from me when I've already lost 8? How about 10, 20, or 30? Divorce proceedings began in early March 2021. I'd only been in my new place a few weeks. We were legally done, but there were a few loose ends to tie up. An account with a shared health insurance plan. I had opened my own account earlier on, but we still had one account with both our names on it to move money to one another for things like mutual bills and end-of-year taxes, etc. Some people told me to wait 6 to 12 months before dating. Moreover, most of those people had never been through a divorce, much alone one including infidelity. Isn't it odd? Then I was told that the sooner I got back on the horse, the better. While I did hear both perspectives, and I feel that every piece of advice may be useful to someone, it is genuinely case by case. There is no one-size-fits-all guideline in my opinion. I finally decided based on how I felt, not what others said. I didn't believe it was fair to penalty box me. I didn't cheat. Why should I? So I might soothe others' fears? I knew I was intellectually honest enough to admit I wasn't prepared in January. Yes, I contemplated it despite my own moral objections. So I wouldn't lie to myself. I'm also 45. What I desire is clear. I don't have to find myself. My wife was not who I thought she was. The woman I wanted was not my wife. So I set out to find my wife. I'm getting older and time is precious, so why wait? I joined 4 dating sites within a week after being divorced. I soon found myself texting many girls. I had my first date in 2 weeks. Then another. It was a great second date. We got along well since she was stunning and had a great personality. I'm currently talking to 10 or 12 females. My mojo returned after a week. Then I went on a date with a third woman. So far, I'm still juggling double digits on the phone and text, both of us are. So, the third woman I met. We're exclusive and recently celebrated our 2-month anniversary. Amazing. I thought many, if not most, women would be wary of dating me since I had recently divorced a month previously. I knew this going in. F***ck it, let's find out, I said. And I liked it. Yes, they had reservations. I simply spoke the truth. I was a newbie. And I took ownership of my faults and failings. I didn't blame her. I made errors in the relationship, but I learned from them. Also, despite several chances, I never cheated on her. This was a big turn on for them since I had been in treatment the entire time. That's fantastic, you're going to therapy. Most guys wouldn't do that, others have said. Also, wow, you're a tough cookie, your success says a lot about you. You are a strong person. These were things I heard on both in-person and text dates. It helped because we'd been divorced for 3 to 4 months. In fact, they separated in January, and the divorce wasn't complete until March. I could once again say I was faithful until the end. That I didn't date till it was ended. This gained me brownie points with the ladies. Even if my ex was I didn't let it debase me. Despite the awful crimes against me, I remained a gentleman. Only one woman declined to date me because I was recently divorced. And it was not my fault. She'd been used as a rebound before, so she was afraid. Those dates and talks with females were the best of my life. I'm not sure whether it was because I'd matured so much since my early 30s, but I felt more confident in myself on those occasions. I'm still not sure why or how, considering what occurred, but I have a feeling. Basically, the worst thing that could happen in a relationship did. So what was my fear? I'd gone through it before, and I'm still here. And I'm here at this restaurant, having dinner with this lovely woman who is looking me down, so why not? It still puzzles me. Not that I hadn't felt that way before, but I was proving to myself that the adulterous, fire-breathing banshee from hell doesn't get to define who I am or what I am worth. No one else does. She can only influence my life if I let her. And I won't let that happen. No way. Don't be so sure that no one will want to date you so quickly after a divorce. But see a counselor, process your sh*t and heal. And it is work. But it pays off. Granted, I'm still not 100% healed, some things just take time, but that's a ridiculous assumption at this point. It's clear to me now that I am much more healed than many, if not most, individuals who have gone through similar misery. Again, I credit God, myself, and my support network of family and friends. I trusted God and worked to fasten my healing. I wasn't lazy. I didn't wait to feel better. A bit of help made me feel better. So, by the end of the third date, I was absolutely smitten. Against the advice of a female friend, I continued dating the second lady. And I had fully intended to be dating for a long time, and dated many ladies before I landed on one with whom I would have wanted to be exclusively associated. But things happened as they did. I know precisely what I want. And I found it far sooner than I expected. Sure, this needs to happen, and who knows what will happen. So far, all I can say is amazing. Even while we were dating and married, this connection was 10 times greater than my ex's. I met the woman I'm presently dating during my divorce. It still surprises me, but it did. And she's prettier than my ex. LOL. Message wall, EX overtures, and regaining power, taxes, a joint bank account, and health insurance were all untied. My ex and I were still emailing about critical issues. I didn't realize that this gave her much more power than she deserved. Also, talking to her on such a basic level wasn't healthy. My best buddy is a lawyer. I used to take it for granted, but now cherish it, that attorneys are knowledgeable in other fields. Their education includes human behavior, psychology, and bargaining. So my buddy had been in the same predicament as me. But they weren't married. But everything else stayed the same. It lasted 8 years. He emotionally withdrew, she began cheating, etc. Same old, we went fishing one day and spent a lot of time on the lake. During our discussion, he offered some fascinating things. One was that she would contact me despite having filed for divorce, and without any needed cause or explanation. Not cool. She wanted a divorce and was clearly anxious about someone else. Second, he advised me to quit talking to her. He suggested I utilize an intermediary. So, if she needs to contact me, she does so through the intermediary, who then contacts me. She's hardly allowed to talk to me. And, more intriguingly, he believes number 2 would help number 1. So he agreed to serve as a middleman. The first order of business was to inform her about the change. That's why I didn't want her to know my address. Also, I need a copy of the tax return when it is filed. We filed jointly for 2020. As a result, my mother was told to just mail everything to my parents' address. I'm not sure why she began doing this, but she did. There are probably just a few possibilities which can be combined. Her ego needs to know or believe she can get me back. She wants to test the waters since she misses the relationship and want to repair it. She's displeased because she's the one who cheated, and she's displeased that I, my family, friends, and some shared acquaintances all dislike her. She's hoping for even the slightest positive reply so she knows I don't think she's a jerk. 0 chance. The fact that I'm not just available through email whenever she wants is messing with her mind/ego. And I'm sure there are more. Whatever. Worst case scenario, it's better for me. The knowledge that I'm no longer talking to that *tch benefits my present relationship. Since contact was lost, here's what happened. I mentioned before the divorce that I wanted to take the 2 male cats. We had 3 cats, 2 males and a female. But the males loved her more than I did. Who knows? I dunno. She made a huge fuss over my picking the 2 males, despite her previous statement that I could choose whichever animal I wanted. So I thought screw it and gave them to her. I had to emotionally distance myself from them when I moved out in December. Now she calls my lawyer and provides me the 2 guys. Her reason is that she doesn't spend enough time with her kids to properly care for them. The issue is that both males are fine. They are usually joking around. They're hip-linked and have each other. The sad female who despises the other cats and only cares for her ex-wife is being ignored. It's not the cat she offered. It defies logic, at least according to her. I wanted to take my 2 boys, but I had to consider the repercussions. My partner is allergic to cats. Second, I don't want to give my ex a reason to contact me again. How are the cats? She asks me whenever she feels like it. Or worse, wishing them back. Also, I dislike having traces of my past life roaming about my present life. He's not, the lawyer says. I had forgotten about my frequent flyer points, didn't care about them, and never asked for them. After a few weeks, she contacts me directly instead of him. She claims she'd want to give me the taxes I'd previously requested. She claims that although I had instructed her to send it to my parents' address, she had other items in the mail for me, and that if I simply give her my address, she'll send it straight to me instead of my parents. Really? I told you to send it to my parents. Clearly, I'm having her send garbage to my parents, so she doesn't know where I live. I don't want her to call. I don't want to open the door to 2 cats. Or anything else. She also requested me to forward her letter. Can you assist set up mail forwarding, was all that was required, and it should have gone to my lawyer acquaintance instead of me. My husband responded to her, telling her that anything for me should be sent at the address we had previously agreed upon. I haven't messaged her since late November. She kept in touch with my family and friends after the divorce. Not only that, but she maintained photographs of us, including our wedding, on her Facebook page. Perhaps she hasn't been on social media, therefore she hasn't erased that content, you could reply. That is, she returned to social media in late February and reverted to her maiden name. I had requested her not to use my name once the divorce was confirmed, but she maintained all her interactions and photos up to date. It had always bothered me, but I had never complained. I uploaded a picture of myself and my girlfriend at dinner a few weeks ago. Within 12 hours, she broke off all contact with my family and friends and deleted the photographs. Yeah. Finally. That wasn't my intention, but it was a great surprise. I doubted she'd notice because we're not connected. But given we had so many connections, I believe it surfaced on her timeline after one of them liked it. So, despite her cheating on me and divorcing me, she's scared I found another woman? A jerk. That's it. So that's where we are now. My heart still hurts from the betrayal. Some days are better than others. But I must say that I am improving daily. I never imagined I'd be where I am today 2 months ago. And I wasn't convinced I'd survive that long. I don't want her back, I simply don't. She's AS. I regret marrying her. I'm also enraged because 8 years of my life have been taken from me. My 30s were 80% gone. My lovely recollections of us were corrupted. But every day I feel better. For the first time, when I awoke yesterday, none of that crap came to mind. It happened again today. Things are clearly improving. I have a much better future. I was saved from a dangerous situation. Oh, and her lover? LOL. Come on, I know you're mad with the guy, of course you're going to say that, I told his ex-wife. Responded, no way. He's visited several therapists, but nothing has worked. LOL. It's a shame for him. I know she takes 3 minutes, let alone 60 seconds. We're talking about 8 minutes on average. We had our troubles, but not that. So I guess she got her desire. Play dumb games, receive stupid prizes, eh? Thank you. I hope that was helpful in some way. All I can advise is to endure and work hard. Get help. Allow yourself to feel your feelings. Though necessary, shout at a pillow as if it's your ex. Write unsent letters to him, her to understand your feelings. Get close to God, He really wants to help. Even if you cheated or did anything wrong. It's possible. Do everything you can to feel better, and don't let your circumstances decide the rest of your month, year, or life. Don't let others define your worth. Speak to those who will listen. Comment and I'll respond. Fake it till you make it. Accuse yourself of faults and learn from them. Repeat a pledge to yourself not to make the same mistakes again, and then stop. It might be due of your actions or because you continually choosing the wrong kind of relationship. This storm will pass. It may take time or not. But it will pass. Don't lose hope. Fight. So now we end it here. We are very close to 500 subscribers. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for interesting stories like these.